Everybody, welcome back to Kratom Kingdom. This is Chris Irving, your host, with the most of the Kratomites and the new American sensation. So anyway, today I want to talk to you about what's going on with Kratom Kingdom. Why is everything so weird now? Why am I not just focused 100% on Kratom? And there's one really easy reason for that, because YouTube has a community guideline, says that anything that is controlled, you can't talk about on YouTube, because it's like promoting an illegal drug or a controlled substance. When I started my channel, there was no control over Kratom. It was just a substance that had just entered America, and no one really knew anything about it. It didn't hit the FDA. It didn't hit any of the states. Because it wasn't causing any problem. Nobody was going out and shooting up, robbing just to get Kratom. So it was like, if it's not a problem, what are we gonna? But some crazy zealots went out and said, "Hey, this is a drug, and my kid is 15 and he's obsessed with this, and it's making him high, and it's making him euphoric, and it's making him crazy." And so the FDA did take a look at it and came to no conclusion. Therefore, there's still no controls over how much Kratom you can sell, how much you can buy. But what they did do is put an age limit on it. Well, in some states, it's all left state to state. So there's no federal guidelines on Kratom, like there is morphine, codeine, whatever. And it's not illegal. It's only illegal in one state. Go figure. It's Alabama, and so. But Tennessee, where I live, you have to be 18 years old to purchase it, and I don't see a problem with that. It's such a benign substance, in my opinion. I don't get. All it does for me is release my pain. So it's more of a homeopathic medicine for me. So my channel, instead of being Kratom in all capital letters, is going to be homeopathic substances or alternatives to prescription drugs, which we all know suck. Look at what the opioids did to America, to the world. And so I want to focus on things that are better for you, because I am very, very sick. There's a lot wrong with me psychologically, physically, cognitively, mentally. So I spent the last 15 years of my life researching, studying, and trying to understand the brain. I spent 20 years in college at Western Carolina University in Cullowhee, North Carolina. They're part of the UNC system, trying to understand the brain, and earned 2 master's degrees in neuropsychology. Well, one in neuropsychology and one in clinical psychology. So the structures and the physicality of the brain and how it works is pretty clear to me now. After all the research and studies I've done, all the real brains I've looked at and touched and seen, what a stroke looks like on a real brain out of the skull. And I've seen brains of crackheads and meth heads, at least the MRIs, and an addict's brain definitely has differences to it. A psychopath's brain definitely has differences to it. So instead of making this a neuropsychology channel, I'm going to make it more of a holistic kind of approach, because that is 100% YouTube approved, and that means I can probably get monetized one day. Because right now, because I have age restrictions on my videos, because when you upload, it asks you, is this a video for children? And I have to say no. Although there's nothing wrong with it for children that I can think of. I'm not teaching everybody how to get higher lifted anymore. I've learned my lesson on that. But just to be clear, it is still possible for that to happen with kratom if you follow some very specific rules and guidelines that I can't go into anymore. But I can tell you what's good for pain relief, what's good for depression, anxiety, and my goal is not to get rich off of YouTube, because I can't earn too much because it'll mess with my disability pension, and that's guaranteed money every month that I need to survive. And it also gets me low cost housing and Medicare. I couldn't live without Medicare. And if a new government comes in and wants to get rid of Social Security and Medicare, I might as well shoot myself in the head, or unalive myself, because I would not survive 3 months without my medication, which I couldn't afford without my pension or Medicare. I have to see doctors every month to get those prescriptions. So I'm really scared for 2024 election, because there's two diametrically opposed factions in this situation. One has outright said we need to get rid of the dead weight, the millions of dollars that we spend on these people that can't work for themselves and can't take care of themselves. And I would love it 100% if I could earn what I was earning before I had when I was a teacher, I wasn't rich, but I was making $3,000 a month, and I was able to buy a house, take care of myself, my wife, my 3 dogs, and but after my stroke, I lost all that. I wasn't fired, but it was made very clear that I was not Teacher of the Year anymore. Where my very first year in the classroom, I earned Teacher of the Year, and I'm very proud of that. My very first year of university, I was valedictorian, 3.99 GPA. When I graduated after my stroke, I graduated valedictorian with a 4.0 GPA, which, with the disabilities I was going for, that was ridiculous. It was crazy. It shouldn't have happened, but with human will, anything can be possible. And I had to study 3 times harder than everybody else. I literally had to rewrite the textbook so that I understood, paragraph by paragraph. I would break it down into one sentence, and then I would go through and read. I would actually sell my notes to other students, to freshmen in the class, because not freshmen in graduate school, but to the first year graduate students, I was selling them my notes because they were so effective for me. And so my main professor was like, "Hey Chris, since you're doing this and you're doing so good at it, why don't you TA for me?" And I'm like, "I would love to." And he's like, "That'll get you started on your PhD, and then I can do what I really wanted to do, teach adults." I love kids, but I also love higher education. I totally fell in love with that. As you can see, I'm a total nerd who loves learning, and so when I get into the kratom level, I get pretty deep into the factors that contribute to its effects. And I try to do that with there's many things that I do that aren't prescribed that help me enormously to survive this really effed up world that I find myself stuck in. Completely alone, no friends, no family, nothing. I just can't survive without the things that I've learned how to survive, because a stroke sucks. Not only does it affect the one organ that controls every aspect of your life, your emotions, your personality, your memory, how smart you are, how dedicated you can be to something, how nice you are to people, how mean you are to people. It just goes on and on. So I'm changing my channel from kratom, which is something that YouTube sees that in their algorithm and says, we're not going to show that to everybody. But I've been doing research, and YouTube channels that focus on holistic living and holistic effects do very well. And I don't want to earn too much, but what my ultimate goal would be, what I would love to do, is just have a little button that says thank you, and you can click on it, and you can give me $1 or $2 as a tip. You know, if I've got 1,000 viewers, $1 would go a long way from each person, because I've noticed that Crowdomites are so loving and caring and really interested in my life and my struggles, and they tell me so. And I've been in off YouTube communication with quite a few of you and have some very interesting conversations. And I have a lot of people praying for me, and have a lot of people worried about me. And I was told when I started this, don't make your videos any more than 15 minutes long, because people will get bored and not watch it. But YouTube says that you've got to have 40,000 hours of views before you can get monetized. So then some other people, I've been finding recently that a lot of Crowdomites are saying, I like long form videos. I like it when you talk longer. I learn more. So I am going to be changing the format, to avoid censorship and to be able to talk about things that are interesting and to still be able to deal with this. Because I'm not going to quit this, because this is a huge holistic medication for me. And I'm going to continue to go in deep on how and why. But I'm not going to talk about where to buy it, how to prepare it. But I can talk about other aspects of it. Like things that it's really good for, and certain things that it's really bad for. I just got a message on my computer that's getting ready to die, which is another reason I need to get some sort of extra income coming in, because I need $400 or $500 for a new Apple computer. And I think I just got some new editing software today that I saved for, and bought the editing software that I went to school to learn how to use, Final Cut Pro, which was why my videos were a lot more professional looking in the beginning, because it's a professional software, where now I'm using a software that comes with every single Apple computer, and it has a lot of limits, and it's not what I know. So I'm hoping to be able to get $400 or $500 to get a new computer to continue this, because one of the things that we need as YouTubers is great tools. I've got a pretty good camera. My video is not bad, and my audio is getting better. At least people can hear me now. There have been some times where my microphone systems are so messed up because I was buying the cheapest things I could find just to get me, and I was trial and error, and I'm finding that this microphone that I have here, which is what I had in my professional recording studio when I was recording bands in a studio as a sound engineer, is pretty good. And the sound card that it goes into, the piece of studio machinery that captures the sound from analog, which is what this microphone takes. It takes an analog voice, puts it into this processor, and turns it into digital, which is what you hear on the internet. And that piece of equipment was $1,200, and I'm really lucky that I still have it. It wasn't stolen when everything else in my life was stolen. I had a $7,000, the best top-of-the-line Macintosh computer that you could possibly get. My dad, before he passed away, I think he knew he was going to pass away, and he came home one day and was like, with a laptop, he's like, "Here, Chris, this is for you." And I couldn't believe it. I was in heaven. I'm obsessed with Macintosh and Apple, and just obsessed. And so I crackheads that conned themselves into my apartment stole it, I was devastated. I quit making videos for a while because what I have now is like a 2014 Mac Pro desktop computer, which I hate because I can't take it to a coffee shop and do editing software. I can't bring it with me anywhere and do work at somebody else's house or anything. I mean, it's pretty much stuck right here in the corner of my bedroom, which is where I spend 99% of my life, which I hate. I can't wait until I get into a new apartment. August 15th, I'm going to fill out the application for my new apartment, which will be a studio, which is fine with me. It'll just be like one big, huge bedroom, bathroom, and kitchen all together. And I will set up half of it as a studio, a music studio, and a sound studio, and then a video studio, complete with green screens and lighting and everything that just stays set up, so I can just stand in front of the camera and do my thing, and not spend 30 minutes testing and trying to get. I mean, right now the top of my head's cut off. So I'm gonna try to. Not that anybody cares what the top of my head looks like, but that's a little better. And I found the optimum place where I talk into the mic is about right here, because if I get too close, it's really staticky and blah 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 blah. That's the 1, 2, 3. But if I get farther away, it sounds a little more natural and it doesn't irritate people. There's no hissing or whirring or picking up too much background noise, which there's a hell of a lot of background noise in my room, because my desktop computer, it's just going all the time. And so I don't know so just to wrap everything up, my channel is still going to be Kratom Kingdom, and it's still going to be primarily about the K. But you're going to notice different thumbnails with different things on them, that don't necessarily have a big focus on the K word, because YouTube will not push that as much. But which is why I made it more of a vlog instead of having instructional materials. Or I'm thinking about doing an interview with my cousin who lives in Lake Worth, Florida, and she's also got a YouTube channel. And if we could do a Zoom conference, because she was lucky enough to have a Kratom Kava bar on her street where she lives in Lake Worth, Florida. And she and I were born the same year, almost the same month, and we were exactly the same age. And she's my favorite person in the whole world. I mean, I love my cousin Gia more than my sister. She's actually, when I was in high school, I was, believe it or not, very, very, very uncool and very, very unpopular. I was one of those gothic kids with long black hair that went in front of my face and pale skin and black eyeliner, wore only black clothes, listened to really dark, depressive movies, used to cut myself, and was all into that. And Gia was basically like the cheerleader, and she was into pop music and had all of her friends were really popular surfer kids. And her walking through the hallway with me, I felt so bad for her, because I was constantly being made fun of or tripped or pushed, and almost got kicked out of school several times for being physical, protecting myself. So but Gia always she introduced me to her popular surfer friends who all had the right haircuts, the right cars, the right clothes, where I didn't. A big black trench coat in South Florida, not a good idea. And which is really unbelievable to have really, really long jet black hair. And she and I would go out at night. I mean, she would take me to the popular parties, and I got to know some of the popular kids, and I was like, they aren't so bad. But it still didn't stop me from peeing in their cars when I would get really drunk. And the ones that I didn't have physical altercations with, the ones that were just school for anything. And I still had a chip on my shoulder, so I would get my little revenge here and there when they didn't know it. I mean, imagine getting in your car at 4 o'clock in the morning and sitting on your seat of your RX, your little sports car that your daddy just bought you, that's badass, and singing Chris Irving's Urine, and you don't even know it. You don't know why your car smells. I would get nowhere around. I got my windows. I got mine, and I had 3 guys beat me up with a baseball bat, who just happened to be my cousin's friend, and she married one of the brothers that was part of that clan. And I hated him at first, so me and Gia didn't talk for a long time, because she married one of my arch nemesis family. And now I found out he was one of the nicest, coolest guys I could ever know. I mean, of course, Gia married him. I mean, so, alright, you all, it is 21 minutes in, and if you've made it this long, I am so appreciative to you, because you're adding to my monetization process, which is good for me, because I mean, I would like to be blessed with a little bit more money in my life. Living with $29 a month of spending money is really hard. I can't even afford sugar and lime for my tea. And now I'm trying to support my mom too, so I'm spending more money on food and rent and utilities, because my freeloading nephew, who pays not a dime, does not clean anything, yet he lives here and bosses me and my mom around. And I can't say anything because his mom will kick me out. When my mom was in her worst state after my father died, my sister put papers in front of her, and she signed them without even reading them. And they said, granting her full access to the house, putting her name on the deed, that when she died, she got full rights to the house, and my nephews did too. And me, my mom's first son, got absolutely nothing. So now I'm looking to live in, I'm staying, my mom is still alive and she's living here. So she's made sure that I can stay in one of the rooms, but it is the smallest room in the house. It was a little storage room. I think it was supposed to be a closet off the kitchen, or a butler's pantry off the kitchen. I mean, because it's a little tiny room. It barely fits my bed and my desk. And the walls are so thin I can hear my nephew just... Alright, you all, that was enough of my vlog. And so I'm still going to produce videos. Please continue to watch. I really appreciate and love you all. And I'm not going to give up. That's not in my nature. That's why I'm still alive after 20 years of being 100% disabled. That's why I still drive, why I still pay my bills, go to doctors and psychologists and neurologists and hematologists and blah, 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 blah. There's a lot wrong with this body and brain. But I keep it going, and I always will. I love you all. I will see you in the next video, probably tomorrow. Alright, peace out.